Okay, as I was thinking, when I installed the headliner and I laid out the path of the speaker wire from the speakers that are going to be in back, I thought, where am I going to feed them out at, right? Well, I took some speaker wire I had and I actually took an old hose, put the speaker wire in the hose, thought, is there a channel right here? So yeah, I'm going to run this. You gotta kind of finagle it to find its sweet spot. And you put your head of wire, I just put it in there. You guys do it your own way, that's how I did it. And then finagle it in there, find it where it follows down to this pillar. And well, you guys know the rest. Keep your eye right there. It's supposed to work. There we go. And voila! I ran some speaker wire. I can run it either through my kick panel there, on up into wherever I want to have a head unit in there. As you guys can see on the left, I'm running the wires that I had already ran through the pillar on the driver's side for my switch panel that goes in the center, obviously. Of course, I used fittings that would not ground out on the metal. I used covered ones, some heat sink, which is unnecessary in that area. There I'm putting on the fittings, like I said, for the speakers as well. Sort of rigging up, if you will, how I'm going to place it on the inside. On the right, I'm trying to find out where the best place, so that I'm not restricting anything, to drill holes into that inner lining of the cab that the trim bolts to, as well as this headliner is going to bolt to. On the left, I'm doing, of course, a more close-up of the wiring. If you guys see the red tape, I believe I used gray wiring for the left speaker, or for the outside speaker, white wiring for the center speaker. The red tape just lets me know, and I did that as well on all the wiring, where and what everything is. Makes it much easier. And presently, while I'm doing all this, it's hanging out just inside the door where the pillar goes to, that you can wire into the cab whenever it's time. Here I'm drilling the holes and test fitting things. There was plenty of holes already drilled into the headliner that I could use, but I wanted to not really go overboard on drilling it because I was making new holes, wasn't too happy about. Looking good. Now it's time for the trim. I'll be honest with you, this was probably the hardest part. I will be clear, if you guys have the trim, unnecessary by the way, I just enjoyed having the Ranger trim in there. The trim does not fit anywhere close to the original holes that are drilled. Lucky for me though, previous owner took it out 17 times and drilled different holes each time, so I didn't. It was kind of worked out for me because a lot of the holes he used were pretty rough. The trim that sits close to the windshield there basically is sitting on the mounts for the sun visors. And of course the trim as well on the outside is sitting low. The back trim lined up decently with the trim that was, or where it kind of was supposed to be. The reason I didn't put too many holes into the headliner is because I knew that trim would be I would be drilling more holes because none of the holes on the headliner lined up with the trim holes. So I gotta say the hardest part to get right was those two corner speakers. There's these little corner pieces that really just, I mean, they're barely hanging on to the other trim around there. So I'd say that was probably the hardest part. The good news is it's not sitting too far out where it's unrealistically there. You know, it's not bolting, like there's no plastic anywhere sticking out and stuff, but everything is pushed out, down, and further away from where they originally were. I did not modify the headliner for that. I just sort of allowed it to get pushed further out. They are those little corner pieces. They are a godsend, but they were really not holding on to the trim probably as much as they wanted from factory for sure. But it worked out pretty well. Definitely enjoyed it. The hardest part, I gotta say though, in general, was drilling the holes. I mean, not hard as in they were hard to drill. There was no way to really test drill or test, you know, there wasn't any easy way to line anything up. So really you just had to eyeball it the whole way. You know what, man, I'll just say it, this was worth every effort. I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, next we're going to look at what goes in the center of that headliner.
All right, guys, some more unboxing. Let's see this little guy. Relay. Ooh, serious wiring. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's annoying. They're all a little kinked to the side. Is that supposed to be that way? Well, anyway. This is going to go on the headliner in there. So I'm gonna have to do some cutting. So this is supposed to be push start, but I'm not going to operate that, or I'm not going to use that. This right here for complete power to the truck. Pretty hardy, jeez. Got a good spring and everything here. Sweet. Alrighty, here it is, all wired up. Obviously main power, push start may not use. This will be my fuel pump. I might run, probably not, my fans off this, just because you don't need those running all the time. But I have wires running, all set up through my truck there through the pillar there. And then, but anyway, this is the wiring harness I put together. So power wire, I'll start here. These you see here are for the lights inside of the switches, and they run to the main power, which obviously runs off of the power side. This is this red wire, and it goes, and then of course I have a ground, which are connected to all of these switches as well. I have that running to my relay. So the power is also running to my relay. And this is the power wire. And I have, like I said, the 4 wires ran so that I can run whatever I want to off of it. Already run through my truck. This is the power wire. Blue one here, you know, use what you got here. I put easy discs, you know, these spade disconnects on everything, because you never know when you need to just disconnect it to try something. So I don't know, that's my tip, I guess. And then this right here goes to the starter if I choose to use it. Still pretty good gauge wire, forget the size of the gauge. I'll show you guys here, I ran the power to see if it turns on the lights, and it does. So if the lights are running, that means there's power to the switches. By the way, I have it wired up, so that's good. I also use this diagram that you guys can see there to run. This didn't come with directions or anything, so I had to look it up. So yeah, and this, like I said, will go in here. I did not do a video of me removing that, but I will show you a quick rundown here. Obviously I use my Dremel, and I measured this template to the size of this, and from there I just basically marked it off with tape the size of this basically, and then I just roughly, you know, dremeled smaller than what this is. And from there I had to adjust sizes and so on and so forth. And then obviously I marked the holes, drilled those out. You know, a little chunk came out. This was the original piece that I cut out, and it needed to go wider. And then bam, there you go. I'm a little unhappy, it scuffed it a little bit, but that was my fault, not anything else. So yeah, and then I'll install it in there, I guess. And there you go. This panel was a little too tall for this, which was fine. I don't freaking care. So it barely hangs down right there. So it came with this, so I was happy that if I did mess up, I could bolt that in and retry. But yep, here it is. Power, start. And then these three are going to be dead for now. This will run my fuel pump when I get it. So this wiring, the way I did it is either, and I used what I had around the shop, so it's not the prettiest. This wiring is either a how-to or not how-to, so we'll see if I wired it right. So I wired these up, ran them through the pillar, taped them along the ceiling here, the roof. Or I put tape on them and tell me which one they are. I have them down as, alright, so I have it down as power, the wire that goes power. And then off the relay there, the green wire goes to starter. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna hook all these up. Down here, I'm only gonna use the first one for whatever I get a fuel pump. Let's do this. Yeah. Woo! What do you guys think? There you go, it's installed. Now I gotta install the speakers. Alrighty guys, another crude video. Here it is. Pretty cool, huh? So I bolted 2 up there across, or screwed in 2 right there across the cross member. Was able to use 1 hole, and then I had to drill another one. On this thing, I ran wires through the pillar for the speakers, as well as for this. I'm not 100% sure if I wired it 100% correctly, but I think I messed up on the power wire. We'll see. I think so. But anyway, maybe not. I don't know. But the we'll find out when I actually wire this thing up to my ignition switch. So speakers all got wired up, color coded them, ran some more under here. So for the trim though, it's not exact. It's sitting a little further back here. It's sitting further down here. This is sitting right on this trim. Let's see here, come here. A little better. So this trim right here is sitting on, let's see if I can get it, that sun visor bracket thing. Is when I bolted it in. You can kind of see right there, there's like a gap. See the darkness? Yeah, so well, there you go. This will scratch your paint, putting in the trim and putting in this thing, putting in the headliner as well. But I like it. I think it's worth it. What do you guys think? I'd like to point out that my visors are hitting the center part there. I'm going to talk to a few people before I do anything. One of them being autokrafters and stuff, see what they recommend. Before I speak to autokrafters, I'm going to check with some other guys that have done this and see if they've had that issue. It's possible that it's just mine are different or something. Who knows? So yeah, all right. Well, here it is. I'm happy with the ignition, or with the headliner. I'm happy with it. Definitely cool, very cool.